Hey guys, it's Zip here and welcome to C++ tutorial number 35. In this tutorial, we're finally getting back onto pointers, and we're going to be looking at how to declare and initialize and use pointers. We've already looked at how to find the address of a variable, which is key when using pointers, obviously, because a pointer variable contains the address of another variable, and that's how it can be used. So it's pretty important to know how to find the address of a variable. So here we have our file basically, and I've commented it all out. So I'm basically just gonna read the comments. So basically, pointers, pretty obviously, point to variables. Pointers should be they point to a memory address. So when I say they point to a variable, what it actually means is pointers store a memory address, which in essence allows it to point to a variable. And the address of a variable can be found with the AND operator, or the address of operator is what it's called. So how do we actually declare a variable? We know what pointers do. We know how to assign them a memory address of another variable. How do we declare one though? Well, we simply use this asterisk operator, okay? It's not called the asterisk operator. I don't actually know what it's called. I guess it's called the pointer operator. It might have some other technical name, but I don't know. But all you need to know really is that to make a pointer, you have to first type the type of pointer you want. So in this case, we're making an int pointer, an integer pointer, or a pointer to an integer is what some people call it. So we first type the keyword int, then after the keyword int, but before the variable name, we have to type the asterisk, and then we type the pointer name, and it's always good practice to initialize pointers, even if you don't have any variable to initialize them to, you don't have any memory address you want to give them. It's always just good to initialize them to 0. Okay, and so that's what we're doing here. And just so you know, the reason I put p in front is because some programmers like to prefix pointers with the lowercase p, just so that they know that variable is a pointer. It just helps some people. I think I'm going to use that method of prefixing stuff because it's always a good idea to do it. So yeah, I'm probably going to be using that, putting that lowercase p before all pointers idea in the rest of my tutorials. So better get used to it, I guess. Now, in this case of declaring the pointer, I've placed the star one space away from the int keyword and one space away from the actual variable name. But the star can be placed anywhere you want, really. So it can be placed either right next to the int keyword, it can be placed in between like I did there, or it can be placed right next to the variable name, so long as it's in between the variable name and the pointer type. Okay, and so we've just initialized a bunch of pointers here, all to 0 as well. You notice I always initialize the pointers to 0. And now here we have something which you might think that we're declaring 2 pointers, but what's actually happening here is that we're only declaring 1 pointer. And the reason for this is, when you declare variables in a list like this with the comma, what happens is you first put the type of variable, so the type that all the variables in the list are going to be, so in this case an int, and then that's the only thing that's set to each variable. So the only thing that applies to every variable is that it is an integer. Okay, the rest is completely optional. So in this case, it may look like we're declaring 2 pointers because we've got int and then the star, but the int is the only thing that applies to the whole list. So this asterisk won't apply to the rest of the list. It will only apply to pint5. So only pint5 here is a pointer, and pint6 is just a normal integer. Okay. Now let's just uncomment this. So how do we make each variable in the list a pointer? Really simple. We just have to add the star for each variable we want to be a pointer. Okay. You'll see this will compile perfectly fine with no errors. I'm not going to show the output because there is some other stuff, but I don't want to cover it just yet. And because some people get confused with thinking that this will make the whole list pointers, some programmers like to make sure that in lists or all the time they put the asterisk or the pointer operator right next to the name, because just visually it helps them see that, oh yeah, this is, but this isn't. For instance, this statement is exactly the same as this statement, just this is positioned differently, and so we as humans just perceive it differently, and it helps us. So some people do it that way. It's perfectly fine to do it, with a space. You can have them varying, so you can have that one has a space between it and the thing, and here you can have that one like that, or that one like that, whatever you want. It's really up to you. Okay. So we know how to declare pointers. Now all we need to do to start being able to use them is assign them a memory address to point to. Really simple to do this. All we have to do is first declare the pointer. I'm going to be using this first pointer that we declared. Then declare a variable to point to.